In a small, isolated town, a young delivery driver named Jake was finishing up his late-night shift. As he navigated the dark, winding roads, he received a notification for one last delivery. The address was unfamiliar, a dilapidated house on the outskirts of town, surrounded by thick woods. Curious but weary, Jake accepted the delivery. He drove down the overgrown path, his headlights illuminating the shadows that danced around him. The house loomed ahead, its windows boarded up and the paint peeling. An uneasy feeling settled in his stomach as he approached the front door. He knocked, but there was no response. The wind howled through the trees, and he shivered. Just as he was about to leave, the door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. A voice called out softly, "Come in." Jake hesitated but stepped inside, clutching the package tightly. The air was stale and heavy, filled with an unsettling silence. He called out, "Hello? I have a delivery." A shadow flickered at the end of the hallway. Jake walked cautiously, the floorboards creaking beneath his feet. As he reached the end, he found a woman standing in the flickering candlelight. She looked pale and thin, her eyes sunken and hollow. "Thank you for coming," she whispered, extending her hand for the package. "I've been waiting for this." Jake handed it to her, feeling an icy chill wash over him. Is everything okay?" The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Everything is perfect now. You've brought me what I needed." Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from upstairs, and Jake jumped back. The woman's expression shifted, her smile fading. "You shouldn't have come here," she hissed, her voice turning cold. Panic surged through Jake as he turned to flee. He bolted for the front door, but it slammed shut before he could reach it. The woman's figure twisted, her features contorting into something grotesque. "You're not leaving," she screamed, her voice echoing with rage. Jake pushed against the door, but it wouldn't budge. He glanced back at her, and to his horror, he saw a crowd of shadowy figures emerging from the darkness behind her, their eyes glowing with a sinister hunger. With one final, desperate effort, Jake threw himself against the door, and it finally gave way, flinging him into the night. He ran blindly into the woods, the sounds of chaos behind him. Hours later, he emerged onto the road, breathless and trembling. He stumbled to his car and sped away, glancing back at the house. It stood eerily still, as if nothing had ever happened. The next day, the delivery service called him in for a meeting. "You never reported your last delivery," the manager said. "But the address you went to, it doesn't exist anymore." Jake's heart sank. He couldn't shake the feeling that the woman and those shadowy figures were still waiting, still hungry for their next victim.